It is indeed the third try, number 3. Let's see how we go this time. But third time's a charm, hopefully, because it's been a long day. And here we are. So, hope you're listening. Let's go. Right. What an entrance, right? Yeah, and a little bit awkward. Just so you know what you're dealing with. Let's check this baby is sharp, because one of the problems I had before was being out of focus. You don't want that. Sharp. Hi again. Welcome to the Subject. I'm Anna, and I am thrilled for you to be watching my very first YouTube video.
Spoiler alert, it's my third video.
Before we get caught up in a lot of details and a lot of story, I would like to begin by saying I don't like labels or confining myself into boxes. I find them quite uncomfortable. And quite frankly, I believe they're very limiting. And I actually have to name a lot, which may just confuse or overwhelm many of you. But to give you a better idea of what to expect here, let's just name a couple. I am a holistic counselor and I am an artist. Is the art in the background might give away. I did this. I'm quite proud of it. Me being an artist and the holistic counseling are the two most important ones that you need to know when it comes to understanding the direction of this YouTube channel. I have also been called a healer before, but to be honest, that's not a hat I'd like to wear anymore. Because now I know that everyone is responsible for their own healing. Because people like me are merely guides and supporters that help people remember that and assist people in their healing journey. I, however, have been an artist my whole life, thanks to my beloved mum, who has been always a supporter of the ideas that were bubbling out of my head. So she said. And that hasn't changed until today, actually. I am truly a ball of ideas. There was times where I wished it would stop, but quite frankly, I wouldn't have it any other way. Even though sometimes it's a little bit confusing because it doesn't always make sense where my ideas come from or however my creativity wants to express itself. I have tried contorting myself into other ways of doing things, and that never ended well. I have shamed myself for having so many different ideas and hobbies and interests, and sometimes I would focus on what people told me I shouldn't do or can or can't. But now it comes down to this for me. Making art and expressing what's most alive for me, whether that is painting or writing or cooking or moving my body, is a true and the most pure form of healing for me. And also have been my earliest memories of having had healing experience. But okay, before we get caught up in too many details and I keep rambling, which I like to do sometimes, let's try to pull myself back a little bit. Because I want to talk about why we're here and why you are watching me today. By the way, I've forgotten to warn you, a little disclaimer. I am recording this out of Indonesia, and one of the things that I've learned since recording my podcast again here and this YouTube channel, it is very, very difficult to find a peaceful place with no background noises, no distractions, no scooters or trucks going past, disrupting the recording, no funny fluid motorbikes in their silly little melodies, driving past, or maybe roosters or dogs interrupting whatever it is that I'm trying to record. So I apologize if there's any of that that you can hear in the background. I tried, and locking myself in a recording studio just isn't real for me. I want you to be in my space. I want you to experience everything that makes me me. And I guess that includes the background noises of Bali. So, what I want to say is in 2020, just like for so many others, my world fell apart. That time, I've been establishing myself as a reputable tattoo artist, and it wasn't until the world held its breath that I noticed how deeply ingrained my identity was into my job again. So when I couldn't work anymore, I really felt like I was falling into the big bottomless pit of despair. And I know I wasn't the only one. However, in retrospect, it was the best thing that could have happened to me. Because only by the world standing still, it was the first time that I also found some stillness. Before that, I was just on the go, constantly chasing the next best thing, going from one burnout to another, and just never feeling good enough. And to give a bit further insight, my mum passed away in 2012, and that was the very first catalyst that put me on the trajectory of changing my life forever. Yet, I had that. But let's come back to 2020. In the middle of this identity crisis that I found myself in, on top of this crisis that the whole world was experiencing, I finally started some digging and some unraveling and some untangling of this mess that I was harboring on the inside of myself. While my life hasn't been the worst, there has been a lot of hardship and a lot of pain. And at that time, I had come to see that I hadn't done anything but to run away from that and to numb myself from it. So I finally decided to clean up my own closet and started to uncover what it was that I didn't want to deal with all this time. I started educating myself, revisiting my past, reliving painful memories, and acknowledging that I have been the common denominator in all of my problems, and also that I have been living in a victim mindset for most of the time. That was not easy at first, but in short, I held up a mirror to my face and finally acknowledged, oh, yes, I had put myself. So I started talking to coaches and therapists and working with them. And I also acknowledged the urge that just creating art for other people was not enough for me. I've come to understand that the thing I was truly missing when I lost what I thought was my purpose was actually the connection to other people and the holding space that I did for them. I already knew of the healing power of tattoos, but I didn't fully understood how much of that was linked to my sense of purpose. As much as I loved creating the art for others, what truly lights me up from the inside out and makes me feel alive in ways nothing else can is helping people, is holding space for people, is making them feel seen and heard, and to be that guide and that support in their own healing journey. Which brings us here today to the creation of this very first YouTube video. Believe me when I say it was quite the road with a lot of obstacles, merely placed there by myself a lot of the times, but we're here now. Once lockdown finished, I did a degree in holistic counseling and started to spend more time on this newly found quest of mine. Over the last few years, I've done more workshops and training, and further deepen my knowledge and my skills in many different forms, especially working with energetics, working with the emotional body, and working spiritually and somatically. But no matter what I kept educating myself about, what I kept coming back to was, and the power that I started to realize was lying in having and starting a simple but real conversation. For a long time, I didn't have a voice for myself, and I had to go and look and find it. And I had to start opening up myself and having those vulnerable conversations that I was so afraid of having. There is not a lot that I've learned, but not having had these vulnerable conversations earlier would be something that I would regret. Bullshit. So one of the things that I taught myself over time was that the questions that I had and didn't dare to ask for a long time were important. Not so much because of the answers that were lying on the other side, but by realizing that asking them to begin with was an actual act of self-love and a step away from self-abandonment, which is what we all do on a daily basis. Am I right? I'm not looking at my people pleasers here. I'm not sure what this channel will look like, but I will use it to share my story and what I've learned, to make you feel less alone, to maybe make it easier for you, and to make you see that we're all not that different. Because that is one thing that I definitely learned. Yes, our stories might look different, we might look different, but we aren't that different. We all want the same thing. We want to feel loved for who we truly are. Yet our fears of being rejected and abandoned over it stand in the way and drive us. Everyone and every part of that every person is welcome here, as long as it's respectful. Shame, guilt, and judgment have no space here. There's enough of that out there. This does not belong here. I am excited for you to be here and come on this journey with me. It took me a long time to step up and step in front of this camera. Please make sure to follow and subscribe to my channel, otherwise you may never see me again. And that would be such a pity. Buckle up, it won't be boring, and I'll see you in the next video.